What did you want to? What were dreams that you had as a child? Like, what did you want to do when you grew up? What did you want to be? What were the things you wanted to go see?
Yeah. It's fairly easy. The first thing that I ever wanted to do and be was a rock and roll singer.
Mm-hmm.
And I got kind of close to it. You want to turn it off?
I'll just turn it off.
Take a second. And we'll start again. Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I think the noise was getting too loud.
It was.
So you said you wanted to be a rock and roll singer?
Yeah. Not a movie star, not an actor, just a wild and free singer. Like to tour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not stay at home, but be on the road. That was one of my dreams, and the other was the horsemanship thing. Being able to take my horses to horse shows and have them do successfully. And have the pride that everybody would have in their children, my pride would be in my horses.
Okay.
So, those were the two main things. I came close on both of them, but not quite all the way. It was just pull back a little bit and say, wait a minute, a star has to do this, has to do this, has to do this, and I'm not sure I want to do all that. So it was kind of hard to visualize myself in that role. So then I looked at the horsemanship thing, and I thought that was totally impossible, because where was I going to find anybody that would put up with the horse and the madness and the expense? And I was lucky in that Andy put up with it. I don't think he really loves them per se, like I do, but he puts up with them because of me. That's the bottom line. So, like I say, I came short of the goals, but I felt like I met them anyway, in so many ways. That kind of a sweet, sad song, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to live on lots of land, which we've got. Wanted to be in the country, which we've got. So the peripherals I've attained. And I've attained them through Andy's help and God willing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the bottom line. Gosh, that's a tough one. It really is. It sounds so simple, and then when you think about the logistics of putting it together,
Yeah.
it's another story altogether. So, God didn't come into my life as strongly as I may have wanted it to, or wanted him to be, back when I was a younger child, because again, the raising that I had through the Catholic Church and the attitudes that I ran into through the church was just about everything was sin-laden that I was interested in, and always going to be in trouble. So it was kind of hard to get up and get going every day. I don't know if I ever told or shared with you the story about my refusing to write what I was thankful about when I was in school. Oh, this is hysterical. I'm not sure how much Mother was aware of what was going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
She had to be aware of some of the things, but the rest of it, she played stupid, and you know, I just sort of went along with the game. But I think it was like the 3rd or 4th grade. It was Thanksgiving week, and we were getting dismissed on the Wednesday, and our assignment that day in school was to write something that we were thankful about. And This was brought on totally by surprise. She didn't tell us, she didn't prepare us. It was just, this is what you got to do to be able to get out of class today, is to write something down. And all the kids, are writing things down, putting their pencils down, and slowly working their way out of the room, and I'm just sitting there. And, she asked me, she said, Darcy, don't you have something you want to write about or talk about? And I immediately said no, there was nothing that I would be thankful for that I could write about. And so she says, well, you can't leave school today unless you do this. And that was fine with me, I'll stay. It's better than going home and being non-thankful at home, I guess. So finally around 4:30, she excused herself and went to get the phone because she knew that we had met a major impasse, that I was not going to give in, and she wasn't going to give in. So we both were sitting there staring at each other for hours and not getting anything accomplished, other than my strength growing in certain levels. So next thing I know, my mother comes storming into the room. And, she goes up and very politely, I understand we're having a little problem today, what seems to be the problem, Darcy? And I just said, I don't have anything to be thankful for, so I'm just refusing to write anything to lie, so I don't have anything to write. And my mother was, 3 shades of green going, oh God, this kid's going to kill me. Mm-hmm. And she leaned over, and I don't remember this whole incident. This has been related to me because I completely plucked it out of my memory. But supposedly she leaned over to me, whispered something in my ear, and stood back up with a hump about herself. And I picked the pencil and slapped down something in writing and then slammed the pencil down, and out the door I went. And so the teacher grabbed the paper first, and my mother, immediately said, what did she say, what did she say? And the teacher started to laugh, and at that time and age, abuse of children was not really discussed or handled in any way, shape, or form. And I think if it had happened in modern days now, something would have happened as a result of it. But anyway, I wrote down this phrase, and the teacher just started to laugh, and she looked at my mother, and she says, I'm not sure we won or lost this battle. Really, I'm not sure. And mother said, well, why? And the teacher showed her the paper. And my mother did the laugh on her hip routine of, oh, God, She says, I see what you mean. She says, I guess we're going to have to let her be the winner this time around. And the thing that I wrote that Mother was so proud of, because it showed what a precocious child I was I wrote down that Thanksgiving, I have only one thing on which I'm thankful, and that's for the fact that I'm going to get out of this class soon. Boom, out I went.
Out of this class soon.
I did have a way of getting points put across. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, and so Mom was bragging to everybody about this brilliant daughter of hers and didn't realize I was screaming for help the whole time. Mm-hmm. And, here she'd been for years bragging about this, comical story. And I'm going, boy, did you miss the market. You really missed it altogether. So, but that was what I was thankful for.
What'd she miss? You said she missed the...
She missed my screaming out for help. I really do look at it with today's knowledge behind me and that statement that I made. Mm-hmm. I was screaming for help. I was saying, get me out of here. Get me out of this situation. Don't make me say that I'm thankful for something that I'm not. Mm-hmm. And force me into saying things that I'm not. And that's why I was angry and stormed out of the room. And she was comical because she thought, it's just a bright little child. Well, look at this little genius I have. And nobody caught the point that I was saying, help. not a soul. So that was me. And it was Thanksgiving, and I was thankful for that patience that I got.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You talked about abuse. Do you want to share with folks about that, or do you want to
Oh,
not
yeah.
go there yet?
No, I can go to some of it. Some of
Okay.
it still is hidden from me
Mm-hmm.
in my memory patterns. But, the biggest parts of the abuse were there was sexual abuse to the level I still don't know. I know that she had to treat me with
And this is your mom
Yeah,
and dad,
yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Okay.
Mom was the one that took care of the treating of me. The dad figure didn't have a head on it. Just never yet have gotten a head to match the body. So that's always been hidden from me. I don't know if I'll ever get it back.
Okay.
That's one of the things that I kind of dread going to heaven, because if it was him, I don't think he can kill somebody twice. But, I would be very tempted to do something awful to him. Very tempted. So that's still a bit of a mystery that I hide from myself. But when I went to counseling, Mother decided I needed counseling. And so did the teacher after a while, because I'd become so difficult. And the one thing that I remember was the first thing that the psychologist asked was if I had a problem with masturbation.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know what the word meant, let alone know if I had a problem with it. But apparently she had relayed this dimension of me to this man, who decided that he told her I was seriously abused and that I needed extensive counseling. And she got so upset at that point that she took me out of counseling, because she said, driving home, we can't do anything about this. We can't do anything about this because your father's going to know. He's going to know that something's going on. So, you're not abused. There's nothing wrong with you. And she completely shoved it into the denial mode and kept it there for years. So I don't remember a great deal of it. I remember flashes of memory, like the one thing that even started this up, and a lot of people don't realize this when they have moments of missing time. They're usually experiencing a memory from the past, and they've just missed it completely. I had, it was like the first day of my first memory was sitting outside with a man who was not obviously just out of the shower, but was wrapped up in a towel. So, but he was, fairly naked and no head. And then he started to open the towel to expose himself. And all I recall was seeing this little worm inside. And it was moving around and doing things. And that was my first memory retrieval process. And I had no idea what it meant, what it was, anything. It just though it scared the tar out of me. And later on, after I had gotten counseling and things like that, I had learned that that was a memory retrieve. And what that was I saw something, how simple it could be, and turned it into something very, very ugly and very monstrative as far as what it was. And in his case, he just turned me into a monster. That's the only thing I can think of. Anytime that, and the reason I know that is this whole thing got triggered by Andy wearing white boxer shorts. And it was like we were on our honeymoon. And for some reason, he wore white boxer shorts one day. And he had not worn them before then. I don't know if it was triggered before that. I just don't know. But I saw that, and I went flying into the bathroom and locking myself in and screaming bloody murder for help. that I needed someone to get this monster away from me. That was my first memory, was just that. And then slowly other things would come up that would be slight, like memories of Mother cleaning me up and taking care of my vaginal infections with zinc oxide. Now, what was a 9 or 8-year-old doing having vaginal infections? But that's what she did, and it always had to be on the sly. Nobody could see or hear about what I was doing. So it was little bits and pieces. The big picture, one psychiatrist I saw said, "You're just not ready. You're not ready to see who it was. And your mind will keep you from that as long as it's necessary." And that's the way it's been. It's been 20 some odd years since the first memory, and I still can't bring the person up and see who it really is. So that's one reason I'm afraid of heaven, because I'm going to see the whole picture again. And I don't want to see it. Just don't want to see it.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of other...
Well, you mentioned something. What I want to do is stop here with this session, and then I'm going to start back up with the second session, because I can only record like 20 minutes at a time, and we're getting close to that. So I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to ask you a follow-up question that's going to be on part 4.
Okay.
All right?
All right.